What's up everybody, it's Valkerion, and we're going to do something a bit different today. I usually don't do trailer breakdowns and analysis, but I wanted to do it today because a game franchise that I really love got a new entry announced finally. It's been a really long time since we've gotten an Armored Core game, and if you've seen my channel, you know I like mechs. You know I have tons of Gundam videos, so I just wanted to watch the Fires of Rubicon video and do a quick analysis of it and what I think is going on in the trailer and what we might be able to expect from the gameplay and what has been confirmed and unconfirmed about the game thus far. Anyway, let's watch this trailer and see what's going on. There's been lots of speculation as what this game is going to be like. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's going to be a Souls-like, it's going to be Mecha Souls, and it's like, I doubt it. I highly doubt it. This is probably going to be Armored Core-ass Armored Core, which I'm happy for personally. I don't want it to be anything other than Armored Core, so. But yeah, this opening is so interesting because they're very obviously channeling Dark Souls. They know what their pedigree is now and how it's changed in the last 10 to 15 years, and they know people love them for their dark fantasy and whatnot, so you can see that they're very much channeling that for this trailer. Feed the fire. This is such a Dark Souls line. I love it. I love it. But it's also a very Armored Core line, which is something I want to talk about too. Let the last cinders burn. And of course, if you mention fire and cinder, people are going to think Dark Souls, so. Yeah, and then you just show the logo and let people sit on it. I literally choked up a bit when this trailer showed. Whenever I saw this shot, especially the shotgun, oh man, I choked up a little bit. I was like, this is Armored Core as F. Oh, this shot is good too. I love it. Oh my god. I still can't believe this is finally happening. I was starting to give up hope because it has been a while. And Armored Core 5 is kind of controversial. Oh. Do it. Yeah. Armored Core 6. Fires of Rubicon. Oh my god. Next year, 2023. Don't have to wait too long, but yeah, we gotta wait. It's a little concerning that it's cross-gen. I wish it wasn't, but yeah. That comes with the territory these days. Anyway, let's dial it back again and kind of look in to see what's going on here. So one thing I think that is going on, like my first, just going through the trailer sequence by sequence, the focus on red, I think that's very interesting because, geez, it could be many things, but this kind of focus on red dots like looking at you directly is something I think is really interesting and really, I can't really say what it could be. My initial guess is that this might be a rogue AI, because you see multiple machines in this trailer, they all have the red eye, but even the titular Armored Cores have it too, so maybe this is us against the AI, maybe the AI has taken over the Armored Cores as well. We don't know. And I don't want to focus too much on speculation as what it could be because it could be anything. And if I can line that up. This right here is really interesting because we saw it started with one single electronic looking eye, and now it kind of shifted into this like kind of branching out, kind of like webs or maybe even like strands of something like infecting other things is what I want to say. And that's one of the things that kind of makes me think that this might be a rogue AI situation or an AI that's like taking over. The next shot you see is this very advanced world with this big flare up coming over the horizon, and I'm assuming that this is a solar catastrophe event because you see this civilized city and it's just getting burned to cinders. Everything is destroyed. It looks like the entire city is just done, and then you get this bigger shot of the entire planet being surrounded. But once again, you get these little dots of red, these little lens flares of red, so I think this would be a really big focus in terms of the visual design elements of Armored Core 6. And then we get the very Souls-like line, feed the flame and whatnot, so. But in this next shot, we see like everything is wasteland now. It is just covered in ash, and are you kidding me? Get out of here. Everything is covered in ash, so this is obviously the aftermath, but you can still see some elements of red in the sky. So whatever this event was, it was so big that it's still there, even who knows how many years later. Let the last cinders burn. And here we get a really interesting shot. We see a mech picking up parts of other things, and it's also got a backpack just filled with crates, and you can even see a gun in there. If you look closely, you can see a gun right here. And it's assumed, I guess you can assume these are all things that are being salvaged by this machine, which might be us. We might be a salvager in this game. Traditionally in Armored Core, we're a mercenary, fighting against corporations and government. This seems to be like a post-apocalyptic kind of survival situation is what I'm assuming. Of course, that is just pure speculation, so I have no idea. But yeah, it does look like this machine is salvaging things in this wasteland, but we get a very interesting shot. It's very quick, and I think a lot of people miss it, but boom, right here, you see explosions in the distance. You see this mech like kind of shift focus from the thing it picked up to the distance, and that's when you see this building in the background just like have multiple explosions. So, and then we get into the Armored Core-ness of this Armored Core trailer. So this is a really cool shot too. I really love this one, and I think it hints at least two things. One is obviously quad-legged Armored Cores are coming back. Obviously, they have to come back. It's a staple. But also, if you played Armored Core 4, you might remember, and I might be blanking on the name, the Kojima Energy Shields, I think is what they're called. In Armored Core 4 and 4 Answered, the machines all had these energy barriers that they could use. They act as like a first line of defense against attacks, and then after that, your machines takes like direct damage after that. And it's really interesting because one of the first directorial roles that Miyazaki had at FromSoft was Armored Core 4. So it's really interesting to see an element of Armored Core 4 potentially being in this game. And yeah, you could use the Kojima shields as barriers, but you can also set them off in an explosion, like in a radius around you, which is something you see in the opening trailer of Armored Core 4 Answer. You kind of see it. You see it charging up, and you don't see it go off, but... So, oh, geez, I love how fast and how hard this thing lands. And this is another element of Armored Core 4, which... Armored Core 4 was all about really high-speed combat and really fast dashing. It was a really new element to the Armored Core franchise at the time. So here again, we can see the red eye, and we also see a shoulder, an arm weapon. You don't get to see what this is exactly because it goes so fast, but if you pause it, you can see it seems to be a weapon that attaches to the arm, flies out, all the canisters, kind of like a, I almost want to say buckshot, but explosive obviously. If you slow it down, you can see it's like they all just kind of scatter and create this big explosion, or this big chain of explosions. Oh geez, I'm trying to... Yeah, if you look closely, you can see the pellets are being scattered before the explosion goes off. Get a rocket, And it seems like the energy shield has not repelled the rocket, but soaked up some of the damage from the rocket. And I think that was hinting at energy shields coming back. So this machine seems to have an energy shield as well. Wash over me. The shot is so good. Oh, the shotgun. It seems like it has one of the things that Armored Core usually does. Like, the weapons are very futuristic and unique, but there's also tons and tons of weapons that are very obviously modeled after real world, current generation weapons. Like this shotgun, for example. You see it in Call of Duty, you see it in whatnot, in many things. Jurassic Park is what I'm thinking. But, oh, the shot is so good. The mech coming through the smoke with the shotgun, the red eye once again. So one of the things that makes me say I think the red eye is an AI element is because we see non-armored cores with it. But we do see armored cores with the red eye as well, so I'm thinking this is mostly just an aesthetic thing for the trailer to kind of make a tonal difference between the grayness of this post-apocalyptic ash-filled world and the machines themselves, which all have a very dark color palette, which is pretty different from what we've seen in other Armored Core opening and trailers. Usually we see them with lots of color, lots of vibrant color, but this time we see a lot of them are gray. They're very dark and very militaristic. And also you get the confirmation that shoulder-mounted weapons are coming back too, my personal favorites, so this is a good shot. So this seems to be the first Armored Core that we see that had the spread weapon. It seems to be in the background this time, and it's facing off against something else. We get this energy thing pop out and begin to charge up. I have no idea what this could be. This is probably something new, something interesting, a new weapon type, maybe a new mechanic type. Armored Core trailers usually highlight new mechanics, new weapons, new parts, and even missions if you pay close enough attention. So, what I think this could be, because of this burst, I think this is the Armored Core 4 Kojima Energy, if I'm saying that right, the shield burst. If something gets too close to you and you can just basically fire off all of your shields, and it makes this really big, super damaging attack in the radius around you. And I feel like that's what this is. So I'm feeling like this could be a sequel to Armored Core 4, the more I see it. And then we get this. We get what looks like I have no idea what to call it, like a pile driver weapon that this machine has. And this could be the machine that was on the receiving end of or the machine that was setting off the energy burst, is what I'm thinking. There, right there, right there, right there. Oh my gosh. So this shot is really interesting because it's really quick and it shows how fast the armored cores can be. But it also highlights what I'm thinking. Another reason I think this is a sequel to Armored Core 4 is, or at least design-wise, is heavily Armored Core 4 and not 5, is because of how fast this dash is. Armored Core 4, once again, had a really big emphasis on dashing, and it seems like the dash is here. And a pile driver weapon. Those are always awesome. This is a really interesting shot. You don't really get a feel for what this is, but it is a machine in a hangar. And if you look at it, it's not an armored core, or at least it's not a traditional one. This seems to be a very, very, very big weapons platform. It's got multiple chain guns, it's got giant tank treads, but it also seems like it might be able to walk like a quadruped. It's got 2 sets of giant chain guns actually, here in the foreground and maybe as a main weapon, and then as a sub weapon in the back. And it's in shadow, but you can kind of glean that this thing is probably pretty big. So this might be a boss, because usually they highlight a boss or 2 in the trailers as well. This is a really cool shot as well, the planes, the aerial platforms. Usually in Armored Core games, they kind of helicopter you in, but these don't look like those type of machines. These are completely armed. They have, what they're shooting out here is flares. These aren't missiles. I know some people might have thought they were missiles, but they're actually flares. It's a very iconic AC-130 shot of the AC-130 shooting out flares, and it seems like that's what they're invoking here. But once again, you get the red eye, and this is what makes me think it's an AI once again. Because these most likely, I would say there's like a 0.0001 chance that these are playable. But you can see that they have the red eye and multiple cameras. It's a really interesting design choice. It makes me think that something is watching us in this game. This is another really neat shot. The whole trailer is neat. I'm just going to keep saying it and get over it. You get an armored core in the foreground, in the back, not in the foreground. What do you call that in the shot? But also you get this weapons platform, these chain guns like auto firing, until a rocket hits this building, this fortress, and then it just stops. So whoever was controlling that seems to have died. And then there's this shot of the 4 armored cores lining up. I'm assuming that they're getting ready for a mission drop. Once again, there's the red again. So maybe it's in friendly AI, maybe it's a rogue AI with friendly elements, who knows? Once again, AI is just my assumption. It's probably not. It's probably just a new energy source that makes red. I have no idea. But you see 4, so I'm thinking that this is the hint that there is a 4-player co-op element to this game. Either PvP or in missions, I have no idea. But for armored core heads, you can look a little bit closer and you'll see this. These are very similar parts that we've seen before. These parts definitely have design elements that we've seen before from Armored Core 2, 3, and 4. So there might be some legacy parts in this. This is also another cool scene. It's a continuation of the shot from earlier where the pile driver was used. You can see this machine is pulling it out and like putting it back in. And you see it's covered in blood or oil. If it's blood, it confirms that there are human pilots again, so maybe some humans survived the cataclysmic event. But if not, maybe we're all autonomous machines in this game, and that's why there's just oil coming out. And that's what the red is. But then again, there's this camera shot again of the main cameras, the eyes, so to speak, of the machines. And once again, the focus on red, contrasted by the black and gray. It's so interesting. Then there's another explosion and kind of just instantly reacts. Usually when a machine reacts, it means the machine is controlling itself, right? Not the pilot just being like, so. So we actually get one last thing before the trailer ends, and that is, it seems like you can stow weapons in your shoulders. This is something that multiple Armored Core games have, where you can actually, instead of having like a cannon or something on your back as a shoulder-mounted weapon, you can actually just have like a storage unit. And I believe this was a big element of Armored Core 5, if I remember. I don't really remember Armored Core 5 all that fondly, but this seems very familiar to me. So it seems like this is an element from 5 that's returning. But the general aesthetic of this game seems to be leaning heavily towards Armored Core 4, if anything, with elements of Armored Core 5 and some of the other games as well, I'm sure. But this is definitely seeming like a sequel, if not a heavily designed influence from Armored Core 4. And then we get the little extra armor and lockup of the head camera. So I'm thinking, because it dashes away, I'm thinking Overboost from Armored Core, the various Armored Core games before this is also going to be returning. So that is just my analysis, my overly deep dive of all the scenes in this trailer, and then we get the title screen again. Fires of Rubicon. It's such a good title. It's such a good game. I'm sure it's going to be a good game. It's such a good trailer. I meant to say not a good game. Once again, I am a little concerned that it's cross-gen. I would love to see it just be 5 and Series X, but similar to Elden Ring, I'm a little worried about the performance. FROMSOFT isn't known as being the best technical studio in the world, and that's fine, but we'll have to see. This game is coming out in 2023. I think it'll be great. It'll be one to be really keep your eyes on. It's not going to be a Soulsborne. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be. But anyway, this game will be good, I'm sure, if you're into the Souls. If you're into the Souls game and their aesthetic, I think there will be elements of this game that you'll recognize and you might be able to appreciate. But it ain't going to be Souls, so sorry. And it's been confirmed since this trailer has been shown that several things have been announced. One is that it will have multiplayer. I think that was a given considering how 4 and 5 and now 6 are going to have multiplayer. It makes sense. It does seem like there's going to be multiplayer co-op for PvP, maybe co-op, I have no idea. They did say that it's going to be mission focused, not open world, so you'll be able to select a mission most likely and just play through your mission. And I assume elements like getting rewarded for taking less damage, using less ammo and whatnot are all going to be returning factors into the gameplay. Another thing they talked about was that this is not going to be Mecha Souls. A lot of people thought it was going to be Mecha Souls. A lot of people who don't play Armored Core thought that. And it's a pretty decent assumption considering how much success FROMSOFT has had with the Souls games. It makes sense to assume that. It's not going to be that though. They've confirmed that this is going to be a third-person action game, just like the other Armored Core games. But I would expect them to take a lot of the lessons from the success that they've had with the Soulsborne, Ring, Hero games. So I can expect certain elements to have that crossover DNA like situation, because there are elements of Armored Core in the Souls games if you look close enough. The lore and extra information being conveyed through equipment is something Armored Core does as well, or did before, even before the Souls games came out. So I think it's pretty safe to say that you're going to see that return as well, and many other things. So I wouldn't expect a Souls game, but I think FROMSOFT has been so famous for their boss fights that I think we can expect Souls style bosses, if that makes any sense. I don't know what that would entail, but I would say the emphasis on bosses is something that I would expect. And it does seem like they made a statement saying look forward to the bosses. So yeah, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. It's going to be an Armored Core game. It's going to be a third-person action mech shooter. There's going to be an emphasis on equipment and finding new parts and building your own designs and mechs, whatever you'd like. It's not going to be Soulsborne, sorry. It's not going to have Souls-like equipment and Souls-like fighting. Don't look for that, don't expect it. It seems like dashing is coming back. It seems like the design aesthetic is very Armored Core 4 style. It looks good. It looks like it's going to be fast. It looks like it's going to be very visceral. I'm looking forward to it. But that is my breakdown of the Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon trailer. Thanks for watching this. I'm going to do a bit more on Armored Core. I'm going to talk about the series and maybe where a good entry point is for people who have never played Armored Core. I'm going to do that next. Anyway, good night, good game, and I hope to see you again next time.